Have you ever wondered how much your life could change if you decided to reach out to a complete stranger? Carlotta, a young woman with a heart of gold, never imagined that a small act of kindness towards a homeless man would completely transform her life. But fate, as we know, loves to play with our lives. And what Carlotta will discover at the end of her story is something so surprising that it will leave her breathless. Here is her incredible adventure. It was a cold winter evening when Carlotta, a simple and generous girl, was returning home after a long day at work. As she parked her car in her quiet neighborhood, she noticed something unusual. A man crouched on the sidewalk, wrapped in a few rags that barely protected him from the cold. She had never seen him before, and in that respectable area it was not common to meet homeless people. This is strange, she thought, trying to ignore the discomfort the image caused her. She went into the house, but for the entire evening she couldn't get the man out of her head. His frail, defeated figure seemed to haunt her. The next morning, as she drove to work, the man was still there. Carlotta slowed the car, glancing at him briefly. She felt a growing urge to do something, but she didn't know what. So she went about her day, hoping that when she returned, he would be gone. But that evening, after parking, she noticed that the man was still there, shivering from the cold. Something inside her broke. She couldn't imagine what it was like to live in those conditions. She grabbed a blanket from her closet and ran out. "Hi, I'm Carlotta," she said shyly as she approached. The man looked up, visibly surprised by her kindness. "Thank you," he murmured, accepting the blanket. "My name is Luca." She sat down next to him on the sidewalk. "I've seen you here since yesterday." "What happened?" she asked. Luca sighed deeply, and then began to tell his story. He had been a successful businessman, but his company had gone bankrupt because some dishonest employees had embezzled funds. He had lost everything, his job, his home, and his dignity. Now he had no one left in the world. Carlotta was struck by his calm voice and the dignity with which he spoke, despite the tragedy he had experienced. She returned home and, that evening, prepared a hot dinner for Luca. From that day on, she brought him food every night, sitting with him to talk. Slowly, a special bond developed between the two. Their conversations were full of laughter, memories, and hopes. As the weeks passed, Carlotta began to learn every detail of Luca's life. She discovered that he had a passion for music and that, as a young man, he had played in a small band. Luca also told her about his childhood, marked by the premature loss of his parents and by the commitment to build a better life. Carlotta told him about her childhood, spent in a small country village, and about her dream of one day opening her own bookshop. One evening, while they were having dinner together, Luca confided in her something he had never told anyone. "You know, Carlotta, before all this, I had a perfect life, or at least that's what I thought. But after losing everything, I understood that true wealth is not money, but the people who stay by your side in difficult times." Those words deeply affected Carlotta, making her understand how much Luca had changed thanks to that experience. One evening, while they were having dinner together, Luca said to her, "You know, Carlotta, you're the first person who's treated me with dignity in a long time. I don't know how to thank you." Carlotta smiled. "There's no need to thank me, Luca. We all deserve a second chance." Over the weeks, Carlotta could no longer bear the idea of Luca living on the streets. She decided to help him find a solution. She didn't have many resources, but she was determined. Luca, in turn, felt reborn thanks to the human warmth that Carlotta offered him. Over time, the feelings between the two grew. That initial connection turned into love. Carlotta saw in Luca not a homeless person, but a capable and intelligent man, crushed only by unfair circumstances. Luca, on the other hand, was deeply touched by the kindness and strength of that young woman who had never judged him. One day, Luca plucked up the courage to look for a job. With Carlotta's help, he wrote a new resume and started sending out applications. After weeks of rejections, he finally got an interview at a small company. During the interview, Luca demonstrated not only his skills, but also an inner strength that impressed the employers. He told them how, despite everything, he had found the courage to try again, and this sincerity won him the job. When he returned home with the news that he had been hired, Carlotta's eyes filled with tears of joy. "I knew you could do it," she said, hugging him. After a few months, Luca asked her to marry him. Carlotta accepted without hesitation, but the news was not well received by her friends and relatives. "She is making a mistake," they said. "She will marry a homeless man. He will drag her into poverty." Despite the criticism, Carlotta did not let herself be discouraged. She loved Luca and believed in him. A week before the wedding, Luca took Carlotta by the hand and led her to a special place, a small park where they had spent many evenings talking. "I want this to be our place," he said. "This is where it all began." Carlotta, moved, smiled at him. "It's perfect." On the wedding day, however, the tension was palpable. Few guests showed up, and many of them were there only to criticize. When it was time for the groom to enter, everyone held their breath. Luca didn't show up as expected. Instead, he arrived in a luxurious limousine, dressed in an impeccable tuxedo. The guests were left speechless, and even Carlotta was shocked. "What's going on?" she asked with a trembling voice. Luca took her hand, asking her to be patient. During the ceremony, among the vows of love, Luca decided to tell the truth. With the microphone in his hand, he looked Carlotta in the eyes and then turned to the guests. "I have to confess something to you. I have never really been homeless. My company has not failed, and I have never lost everything. I am a very rich man, and I orchestrated all of this to understand if Carlotta could love me for who I am, and not for my money." A murmur of amazement ran through the room. Carlotta was speechless. Luca continued, "Carlotta has shown me that true love exists, and for that I will give her everything she deserves. Not only my heart, but also a happy and secure life." The room erupted in applause. Carlotta, in tears, hugged Luca. The ceremony turned into a joyful celebration. The young woman, who had shown rare goodness and purity, had found her happy ending in a completely unexpected way. The party continued late into the night, with music, dancing, and laughter. The guests, initially skeptical, were drawn into the atmosphere of joy and love that permeated the evening. Even some of Carlotta's most critical friends came over to apologize, acknowledging their mistake. "We misjudged Luca," they said. "But now we understand how special she is." A few days later, Carlotta moved into Luca's villa, surrounded by friends and family who now understood how special this woman was. Her kindness had transformed her life and Luca's, proving that true love knows no barriers.